My name is Sam Russel, and you're listening to episode 46 of The Place of Sound. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. And for those of you who have been following along through the past few episodes of the show, welcome back. For those of you who happen to be listening for the first time, The Place of Sound is a show that explores the theme of space or the social geography using sound and listening. We do so through a variety of audio media formats, so you can expect to do a few different types of listening in a single show. Episodes consist of what we refer to as audio portraits, or oral history-style interviews, that explore the topic of home. Soundscape compositions, which use everyday sounds to communicate the personal and social significance of a given place. And we typically end the episode with a short documentary-style piece that explores the place-based identity of the producer. The aim with these particular projects is to allow the producer to think about the places that made them who they are today. These are the types of projects you can expect to hear on The Place of Sound. And in this episode, all of them were produced by students here at Carleton University. They are what gets produced in COM's 4501 Digital Media Production, which is a fourth-year workshop course in the Communications and Media Studies program taught by Vincent Andrusani. Okay, on to the projects. In this episode, we'll listen to an audio portrait, a soundscape composition, and an audio documentary. 3 projects in total. First, we'll listen to an audio portrait by Roop Bajwa titled Seeking Comfort. It consists of an interview that Roop conducted with one of her best friends, Jess, on the topic of home. In it, Jess talks about the importance of comfort that comes with home and how home is found in the people closest to you. She describes how she found home in multiple places and people in her life, all providing her a sense of comfort. The second project we'll listen to is a soundscape composition by Yiyang He titled Hot Pot Day in My Brother's House. In this soundscape composition, Yiyang walks us through his Sunday as he visits his brother for a hot pot dinner. He plays to us the sounds that relax him and tells us how much ease the preparing of hot pot dinners bring him. Lastly, we'll finish the episode off with an audio documentary by Jessie Gu titled Sunset is Not Inferior to Sunrise. In this audio documentary, Jessie reminisces on her high school days in Singapore, when life was more exciting for her. She talks about her experience in Ottawa in comparison to her friends who are attending school in New York. However, one phone call changes everything for her. The tragic loss of one of her high school friends redefined her perception of life in New York, and when she was back in Ottawa, she was supported by a community that helped her get through this difficult time. All right, let's begin with our first audio portrait by Roop titled Seeking Comfort. Roop, over to you.
Hello, my name is Roop, and I'm in my final year of Communication and Media Studies here at Carleton. For my audio portrait assignment, I interviewed my best friend Jess, all about what home is to her. And as you'll hear, it's all about comfort. And while she finds it in many ways, she touches on one particular place where she sought comfort. I learned a lot about Jess through our conversation, and I'm happy to share her story of home with you. So please enjoy.
Comfort, probably. I feel like home is definitely where you feel comfortable and where your loved ones are, because that adds to your comfort. So home isn't necessarily like one place. It's kind of multiple places where your loved ones are and where you feel like you can go to feel at home. I feel like everyone, even if you're from a bad situation, right? Everyone has something that comforts them that they connect with a home, right? Like when I was a kid and, an older kid, and I was figuring out my sexuality, right? And I was, I wasn't scared to go home, but I was scared to talk about that with my parents at home. And for like those couple of years, I always found comfort in going to my friend Claire's house because her mom was so open and really didn't give a crap about who you were as long as you were nice and respectful and friendly. And I felt like I could go to her house after school and I could talk to Claire. And I wasn't scared of her mom overhearing anything. In fact, sometimes her mom would come and join us for a board game and she would be like, okay, so like, what's the tea? What's going on in your life? And I wouldn't feel, maybe I felt a little awkward talking to my friend's mom about, because when you're a teenager, you never really want to talk to parents about exactly what's going on in your life and about love, because that's all icky and gross. But I felt more comfort there. Like I had like a little mini second home when it came to my feelings about love and about sexuality at that point in my life. It really is what you make of it. It really is where you find comfort. Like that's where your home is. Even if it's multiple homes or even temporary, you can like create a little home space for yourself.
Sound is a powerful medium. It can travel through spaces. In this audio, I'm going to introduce my space traveling journey with a unique sound that I heard in my brother's house. It is the boiling sound of a hot pot. Even if one day a familiar space was no longer there, I could still travel to that space by encountering this sound. Both the sound and the space always exist somewhere in my heart. Today is Sunday. As usual, I'm driving to my brother's house for a hot pot dinner. My brother is my only family member who lives in Ottawa. I go to his house for a small family reunion on almost every Sunday. Today is a little different than before because my brother just found a new job in Montreal. He called me to celebrate together. 哥哥，回来啦。When I enter the house, my brother is preparing food. We don't talk a lot when we are together, but the time spending with my brother always make me relaxed and comfortable. Preparing a hot pot dinner is complicated. We need to wash a lot of vegetables. We also need to cut green onion, coriander, and garlic. They're essential for hot pot. The sound of making chili oil is also very relaxing. After you put hot oil on the chili, you get this sound. The hot pot is finally ready.
都熟了，吃吧吃吧。
这羊肉应该好了。来来，你先。We have lamb, veggies, tofu, and noodles. I can hardly use words to express how delicious it is. I love the boiling sound of the hot pot. This sound reminds me of the hot pot restaurant that I used to go to with my parents in Beijing. It takes me back to those nights when snow was drifting outside and fog was hanging from the windows, but inside was full of worms. My brother's house is a space that connects me to my hometown and my childhood memory. My brother will be leaving Ottawa soon. Every Sunday's hot pot day could soon cease. This space has brought me a lot of happiness and warmth over these years. I'm grateful for that. However, this won't be my last goodbye to that space. Just like how I was reminded of my hometown in my brother's house, in the future, there might be certain environment that can bring me back to those happy hot pot days with my brother in his house.
来走一个。
走一个。Those spaces that have certain meanings in my life will never leave me. Instead, they always exist somewhere in my heart.
要录多久？我也不知道，可以了，差不多越多越好，这样我能当做背景声。
你就这玩意儿背景声太难弄了，你网上找个吃饭的声音。
不是，他要求音质特别好。咱随便拿。
Before we continue on to the last project, here's a quick public service announcement from SoFar Ottawa, a local music events startup company responsible for various small performances throughout the city. SoFar Sounds is a global music community that connects artists and audiences through live music. We bring people together to create space where music matters in 400 cities around the world, including Ottawa.
Here's how it works. 3 unannounced artists. Each SoFar show features different musical styles, and the audience doesn't know who's performing until they're on stage. Once you do, you just might fall in love. Curators. About once a month, SoFar Ottawa welcomes a guest curator to pick the acts. The curators range from local producers, artist collectives, and labels.
One unexpected space. From museums and boutiques, to rooftops, and to your neighbor's living room or backyard. We keep the location secret until the day before the show. We love showcasing Ottawa's unique local businesses and spaces.
A different way to see live music. Our community creates an inclusive space where music matters so that you can get lost in the performance. SoFar Sounds is a great way to discover new music, new spaces, and make new friends.
Here's what a show can sound like.
This next song, I love writing, and lyrics are very important to me, so this next song is in my opinion, a very lyrical song, so I'm not going to say anything about it. Hopefully what I wrote makes sense. So, the song is called For Today.
Want to perform, host, or check out a show? Go to sofarsounds.com or follow SoFar Ottawa on Instagram. That's SOFAR sounds.com.
Thank you.
Back to the final project of the episode. This is Sunset is Not Inferior to Sunrise by Jessie Gu.
In the past 3 years, I always thought Ottawa was like sunset, New York was like sunrise. I always considered it was the most attractive and warm place in the world. However, a phone call from my best friend told me the death of my high school friends changed my mind. After I flew to New York to say goodbye to his body, I felt the city's apathy and chaos. When I came back to Ottawa, the folks took care of me, cheered me up, and helped me become a grateful person again. Also, when I went out to experience the tranquility in the city, I found it offers me personal time and personal space to plan for my future. I am not a reckless person anymore. Ottawa warms me and teaches me to grow up. Maybe sunset is not inferior to sunrise. After I came to Ottawa, all things are changed. I've been here for more than 3 years. I feel like the city is so musty. No parties, no fashion sense, no skyscrapers, and no big shopping malls. The most importantly, no old friends here in Ottawa. All my high school friends are now studying in New York, Seattle, London, and Chicago. Every time I see their stories on Instagram, they all have lunch together, go to clubs in Manhattan, stay in the same apartment which can see the Empire State Building through the window. I am jealous at them to have this prosperity and reunion. But my life in Ottawa is very monotonous. Every midnight, I could only see the stars and light up my cigarette to kill the boring time in my backyard.
Your call has been forwarded to a voicemail service that has not been...
I try to contact my friends in the United States to make my roommates feel I am not lonely. I still want to keep a social queen persona in Ottawa to make people think I am popular. I cannot forget about the fancy old days in my high school. All my friends and I did the crazy things in Singapore and never worried about our future. So I resist everything that happened in Ottawa and blame Ottawa for cutting off all my happiness and my past. I could only pray that my graduation will come soon. Then I can go to a big city to reunite with my high school friends. I changed in Ottawa from an articulate person to a cynical person. My only future plan is how to run away from Ottawa. However, one day, a phone call smashed all my fantasies to New York. After I hung out the phone, I bought a ticket to New York.
We are now inviting customers traveling on Air Canada Flight 340.
The 1-hour flight became the longest trip in my life because my best friend told me one of my high school mates died in a car accident caused by his drunk driving in Brooklyn. When I arrived in New York, I saw my old friends and his parents in hospital. At that moment, I didn't have courage to see the last glance of my friend. I ran to the restroom and cried. However, after I came out, my anger and sadness flared up to the maximum. My other friends didn't feel sad about his death and planned which Korean restaurant they want to go for dinner. I can't believe their apathy to his death. They just give me a reason that, Jessie, there are a lot of things happening in New York every day. Don't be oversensitive. After I came back to Ottawa, I trapped myself into a bedroom and did not go to backyard to breathe fresh air anymore. I could not forgive my friend's apathy and feel sad about my friend's death. However, one day, the knock on the door changed my mind. Hi, may I help you?
Hi, I'm Logan, your neighbor. Just want to check, is everything okay?
My neighbor, Logan, just wanted to check if I am okay because I didn't show up in my backyard for a long time. I was a little bit moved and it was the first time I came to Ottawa to feel the warmth from strangers. After I told him my high school friend passed away, his family always cooked spaghetti to my home to take care of me and told me that the most brightest star in the sky is my friend. He will always be with me. I suddenly realized people in Ottawa was not as awful as I think. They were so helpful in my hardest time. After my neighbor encouraged me to recover from my friend's death, I tried to go out. He took me to Bajwa Market, National Gallery, Muni's Bay, and Reader Center. Gradually, I found people were very nice in this city. One time, I went to IKEA and have difficulty taking furniture to the car. An old gentleman came to help me move my stuff to the truck. When I walked in downtown, many people would tell me, "You look so great." The warmth from people melts my cynicism. It is the first time in my life to experience the unconditional love from strangers. I feel thankful that people consider I am part of their community and treat me like a family member. Compared with my friend's apathy to my friend's death, the folks unconditionally help me and encourage me be a grateful person. I feel like I am not an outsider of Ottawa, and I didn't blame the city give me nothing anymore. Gradually, I become a cheerful person and willing to communicate with the locals. My life starts back to normal. I go to campus on time every day and have daily exercise after school. I find all my classmates are willing to help me and professors teach meaningful theories to me. I begin to reflect my past and ask myself, do I only think about how to have fun and neglect beautiful things around me? Luckily, I made friends with my neighbor, Logan, on my way to exercise.
Hi Jessie, how are you?
Pretty good. He is a native Ottawa person. He takes me to many places of interest and we go to school together.
I was born in Ottawa. Sometimes I feel lonely because there's no entertainment here compared with Montreal. But actually this city is so amazing. It has kind of tranquility that Montreal doesn't have. You can also have plenty of time to achieve your goals and your dreams. I choose to stay here because there's no disturbing dramas or complex interpersonal relationships, and all people here are so sincere.
After my friend passed away, I began to think about how should I change my lifestyle because I am afraid that if I keep on playing hard recklessly as before, the same terrible thing will happen on me. So I focus on my life on studying. Every day after class, I like sitting near the river on my campus. The water flow makes me relaxed and helps me concentrate. I was impetuous to think about party, alcohol, and traveling every day. However, when sitting on the desk to hear the sound of water flow, I can concentrate on my academic work because it helps me away from my past and there's no crowds, no pop music, and no shouting or screaming. This is very novelty. I've never heard the clear and actual water sound in big cities. It's just like the background music of stress release video. The natural sound creates a shield for me to exclude the mundane. Only here, I can focus on my schoolwork and have plenty of time to prepare for my internship. The nature that big cities do not have helps me think about my future and my career. Just as my friend Logan said, Ottawa offers a perfect condition for people to plan for future. Now, I can be a normal university student here. Because of the tranquility and warmth from daily life, gradually, I found I love Ottawa. Because I successfully got my favorite PR agency's internship offer, I look back my life in Ottawa. I find it becomes the biggest supporter on my way to success. It helps me away from fickle socialization and entertainment. Maybe Ottawa is like sunset because it lacks a kind of vibrant atmosphere and has more peace. But this serenity is not less beautiful than sunrise. After my friend passed away, I re-evaluate Ottawa. Sometimes I was too obsessed with the past to enjoy the present happiness and never think about my future. I am not the reckless, fickle Jessie anymore. Instead, Ottawa unconditionally offers me love to help me become an articulate and outgoing person again. Also, I became more professional, more independent person because Ottawa gives me personal time and personal space to think about my future. Ottawa, a city full of tranquility, warmth, nature, and surprise. People always say, where there is ease, there is home. Now, I become an insider of Ottawa. It teaches me how to be stronger, how to start a new life, and how to grow up.
Yiyang and Jessie for sharing your projects with us. And thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Place of Sound. I hope this episode left you asking yourself some questions. And I want you to reflect on those questions and think back to the environments that you grew up in. What specific sounds shaped your home? Again, all these projects are produced by Carleton students in the Communication and Media Studies program. Before I sign off, a couple quick notes. The first is about the featured work section on the Place of Sound website. It's a blog that presents some of the individual projects you will hear or have heard on this show. On the site, you're of course able to play the audio work itself, but you can also see some of the original photos and the writing that students produce to go along with the audio. Since you can't see that writing or see the photos on the radio show, this is a great way to access it, so check that out on the blog section on theplaceofsound.ca. The second thing I want to mention is that if you enjoyed this show, you can listen back to previous episodes. You can find them in multiple places, on ckcufm.com, on the website, theplaceofsound.ca, or where you listen to other podcasts such as Apple Podcast or Amazon Podcast. Lastly, make sure you go check out our Instagram page at The Place of Sound to keep updated with new episodes and more information. Again, thank you so much for listening. My name is Sama Russel, and you'll be hearing more of me on this show. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and for now, goodbye!